we would see Team Chaotixs beginning to plan a new sort of mission, as they would get a call from Vanilla, stating that Eggman is attacking their village, causing chaos and mayhem wherever they go. The Resistance decides to send Team Chaotixs along with some troopers. Meanwhile, Tails, the Rookie and Omega will also assist in their search, while Knuckles and Sonic will journey to Luminum Forest to track down, to make sure that the base is all fully destroyed and locked down, to make sure that Eggman doesn't go back to it. And here we would have our first, one of our Omega levels, which would be of course similar to the Gamma levels in Sonic Adventure, which I think that would actually be a really good idea, honestly. And we would see, of course, Cream and Vanilla, and we would save them along the way. And we would see Infinite around. And here we would have a boss fight, where he summons one of his Infinite Seekers. And Omega would have to fight this. It would have many different moves, including a slamming move, it could fire lasers, can warp reality, and it essentially can just rip up blocks and throw all sorts of dangerous things at it. And Omega would ultimately blast through it. He would literally punch straight through it, making it incredibly, useless. Meanwhile, with Sonic and Knuckles, they begin investigating. And Knuckles states that he lost contact with a group of, ex-Resistance members who apparently got stuck in this course. Sonic tells him that it's all okay, and that they'll find them and get them back to the Resistance HQ. And Knuckles looks around to saying that this used to be, a forest before Eggman took over and, plastered all of this sort of material all around it, turning it into a casino in a forest and destroying everything in Mystic Jungle. Everything was destroyed. Just then, out of nowhere, Chaos appears, and Sonic declares ready for a battle. However, Chaos gets some new abilities thanks to Infinite, who summons some cubes. Chaos would have these all new abilities along with a new remix of Open Your Heart, and he would be destroying everything. He can even morph into Perfect Chaos without using the emeralds, which Sonic sees as a trick of illusion, and he manages to fight him off. After that, Chaos decides to retreat back to obviously his next sort of wherever he is, and Knuckles is still trying to cope with the idea that Chaos is out of the Master Emerald. But Sonic says that they'll think of an idea of trying to get him back in. Tails will think of something. Knuckles agrees, but he then ultimately thinks about the Master Emerald, that he hasn't been back to Angel Island ever since. But Sonic tells him that everything will be alright, that they'll be back to normal once they beat Eggman. After Chaos disappears, we would see that the person behind it was Infinite, who's of course overlooking the certain events. The words of Zavok's sort of twisted words still echo in his mind over what he could be, what potential he has, and that Eggman will just throw him away when he's done. And Infinite still contemplates on what to do. Meanwhile, Shadow would be seen looking out over the distance of the Death Egg robots destroying everything, the Sentinels destroying everything in sight. He would think to himself, what on earth is he really doing? Is it all worth it in the end? And Shadow believes that maybe perhaps that this isn't what Maria would have wanted. This never is what Maria would have wanted. So Shadow makes a decision that would ultimately change. He decides to, in other words, break away from Eggman and to help the Resistance, as he sends out a message to them designed as someone else, and tells them that he'll give them secret information under the name Lifeform, which they all know. However, an Infinite Seeker is watching the whole event, but, well, Shadow destroys it before it can send a message back to Infinite. As the Seeker begins to go around, Shadow then notices Omega come crashing in and start firing, destroying it completely from the outside, ripping it open, and, well, the illusion ends. Which is very surprising. Meanwhile, Infinite would be, of course, in his subconscious world, thinking of how things are. He's in null space, just imagining how he could alter things in reality. The power he possesses, the strength, the abilities that he possesses can change the world. But yet, he tells Eggman that he feels trapped on a leash. But Eggman tells him that he's his best general, and that before he got those powers, he was nothing. He was weak, pathetic, and was a nobody. And he ultimately asks Eggman if he fails him again, what would he do to him? Eggman ultimately says, again. And Infinite says, the Resistance are becoming more and more powerful. Your empire is falling. Everything you control is falling out of your grip. However, Eggman ultimately does not take kindly to this, and insults Infinite straight up, stating that I run the empire, you are my enforcer. You keep everyone else in line. You answer to me. I'm in charge. I am the Eggman. It's what I am. Eggman would ultimately get annoyed with Infinite, telling him that he could just take away those powers and recycle him, and even perhaps turn him into a robot. He then tells Infinite to beat it, to go out and continue to destroy the Resistance, and to bring him Sonic. Infinite agrees and walks out. As Eggman continues to think, he realizes that he needs to think of a way to battle the Resistance. Meanwhile, the Resistance begins planning their next big attack. Silver begins to think of a potential idea to take out one of Eggman's mining operations and another one of his factories. And he decides to take the Rookie with him. Along with that, Sonic decides to go along with Amy to investigate a old mining area in hope into another big robot factory. The two hopefully plan to destroy another one of Eggman's massive Badnik factories. The Rookie fully agrees, and he's quite happy to go along with Silver. Perhaps they can figure out what Eggman's up to for the big final plan. And, well, the Rookie is quite glad. And as the group, Silver ends up completely noticing that Cream the Rabbit shows up, and he's happy to see them. The Resistance welcomes Cream and Vanilla as they stay in the Resistance base. Meanwhile with Infinite, he begins to look over all of the Resistance stuff, watching it through. But he decides that they'll eventually overcome Eggman, and that there's nothing that he can do. But this world is going to need something stronger. An illusion maker, a mercenary, the ultimate mercenary. And he ultimately begins to plot of an idea of overthrowing Eggman and taking over the world on his own. He has the strength, he doesn't need anyone to boss him around anymore. And thus his power begins to grow. As he tears an Eggman Empire poster down. Meanwhile, behind the door, Zavok smirks. Finally, now you understand my pain. As he looks on, smiling. As Zavok walks away, he states to Eggman that he's in for a big surprise, and that everything he knows, his empire, and all of the humiliation will come crashing down on him. And even his own badniks will turn against him.